China and Uzbekistan forge an all-weather comprehensive strategic partnership for a new era. China's central bank will slash the reserve requirement ratio for commercial banks by 50 basis points from February 5th. Finance and business leaders from around the world are gathered in Hong Kong to discuss global financial cooperation. From CGTN headquarters here in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Xia Vandenberg. China and Uzbekistan have upgraded ties to an all-weather comprehensive strategic partnership for a new era. The agreement has reached during the meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Uzbek counterpart, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, in Beijing. During the talks, Xi called for greater high-quality Belt and Road cooperation with Uzbekistan and improved measures to facilitate trade and investment. President Xi also called for greater efforts towards the launch of the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan railway construction project, which aims to enhance regional connectivity. The Chinese leader also highlighted expanded cooperations in green areas, such as new energy vehicles and projects harnessing photovoltaic cells, wind, and hydropower. Uzbek President Mirziyoyev advocated for greater ties between the two nations. He also expressed the hope the visit will further consolidate mutual trust and promote cooperations in trade, investment, agriculture, and tourism. China remains Uzbekistan's biggest trade partner. According to the Ministry of Commerce, trade between China and Uzbekistan reached nearly $11 billion, accounting for over 21% of Uzbekistan's total foreign trade during the first 11 months of last year. Uzbekistan imported more than $8 billion and exported about $2 billion to China during the January to November period. That makes China Uzbekistan's largest source of imports and its second largest export destination after Russia. Thanks to an improving business climate, China is becoming increasingly attractive to investors from Central Asia. CGTN met with one Uzbek businessman to discuss his involvement with large-scale projects within the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative and the prospects for cooperation between his companies and his Chinese partners.
Xitoy Xalq Respublikasi Raisi Janob Si Jinping janoblarning
one important factor in the development of Uzbek-Chinese relations is the Belt and Road Initiative proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping. Uzbekistan was among the first batch of countries to support this strategy. This initiative has created great opportunities for entrepreneurs from both countries to implement projects. We believe Uzbek President's visit to China will further strengthen Uzbek-Chinese relations and their strategic partnership. As far as I know, the idea was put forward to build a railway line China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan. We'll be very happy about the successful implementation of this project, and this will make huge contribution to increasing trade turnover.
Now, to learn more about China-Uzbekistan relations, let's bring in our guest, Liu Xu, Deputy Director at the Institute for Russian, East European and Central Asian Studies at Renmin University of China. So, Professor Liu, in your opinion, what are the likely key outcomes of the Uzbek president's visit to China?
Yes, we've seen there's a great achievement politically, economically, and also socially between Uzbekistan and China in recent years. So first, we find there's a great new agreement between China and Uzbekistan for the future years from 2023 and 2027, which signed last year. And also, there's a more frequent visiting from the two leaders. And we also find that there's a great achievement economically. Not only for China, but also for Uzbekistan. China already the largest economic partner for Uzbekistan. And we also achieved a lot of strategic agreements in the past several years. I think that's a great significance for the importance of the relationship between China and Uzbekistan.
Yeah, and what are some of the new developments in practical cooperation are taking place between China and Uzbekistan?
Yes, we know the Uzbekistan is one of the most important partners of China's strategic program, Belt and Road Initiative. And we find Uzbekistan is very active involved in this project. And this is not only between the central governments of the two countries, but also between the local governments between Uzbekistan and China. And we find Uzbekistan also want to develop the new technology and the new, the sustainable development program. And those programs also absorb a lot of tensions and investment from China. I think that will be the future important aspects of the economic and political relationship between Uzbekistan and China.
Yeah, and what steps can still be taken to enhance collaboration between China and the countries of Central Asia?
I think we first of all should follow the agreement between the two countries on the summit between the two leaders. And also we already have a lot of program not on the central government level, but on the local level. So we should follow those programs to further develop the two countries' political and economic relations. And further, I think we'll focus on some very new technologies, new energies, because we know Uzbekistan is full of those mineral products, mineral resources, but they need a lot of capital, they need a lot of experiments and also know-how. And I think China could help Uzbekistan to achieve those important purpose in future.
Yeah, and last but not least, what's your interpretation of the significance of the recent cooperation agreement signed between the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank and Uzbekistan?
Yes, I think AIIB is a very important, factors for the future development in Uzbekistan. I think Uzbekistan is just following the Chinese model in the past 40 years, because Uzbekistan is also implemented the so-called openness and the reform, just like China, the strategic program in the past several years. So, but they need a lot of foreign partners, and especially the capital from the international society. And AIIB as a flagship international financial organization of Belt and Road Initiative, in recent years has a great contribution for the development of Uzbekistan. So they have signed a new cooperative program, and they also decided to make the Uzbekistan as the first country in the Central Asia to hold the annual meeting of the AIIB. So I think that will show the great importance and potentials for the further development, financial development and the political economic development between China, between AIIB and Uzbekistan.
Yeah, thank you so much for your insights. Always great to have you on the show. Liu Xu, Deputy Director at the Institute for Russian, East European and Central Asian Studies at the Renmin University of China. China and Nauru signed a joint communique in Beijing on Wednesday, officially resuming diplomatic relations at the ambassadorial level. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi held talks with Nauru's Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade and signed the joint communique. For its part, the government of the Republic of Nauru reaffirmed the One China principle and recognizes the People's Republic of China as the sole legal government representing the whole of China, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. The joint communique also acknowledges Nauru's severed diplomatic relations with the Taiwan region and outlines the Pacific Island shall no longer develop any official relations or exchanges with Taiwan. China and Nauru have agreed to exchange ambassadors as early as possible and to provide each other with all the necessary assistance for the establishment of respective embassies. As China and Nauru have officially re-established their diplomatic relations, our reporter Huang Yue talks to a Chinese engineer who has been working in Nauru for nearly 5 years, and he says he's excited to see the resumption of ties and looks forward to more facilitated cooperation in the future.
Nauru is a Pacific Island country located about 3,000 kilometers northeast of Australia, with a land area of only about 20 square kilometers. The small island is eager for external support in infrastructure construction, including airport, road, water, and electricity facilities. Chinese companies are already involved in a project to renovate and upgrade the Aiwo Port terminal.
总工期进度已经达到了75%左右。
So far, about 75% of the project has been completed. We are expected to finish constructions in February next year. Once completed, it will definitely make a huge contribution to the economic development in Nauru.
Started in December 2019, Zhu says the project has faced lots of challenges due to a lack of resources and inconvenient transportation. But with the resumption of diplomatic ties, Zhu says he believes future work will be much facilitated. And he hopes Chinese engineering companies will find more opportunities in Nauru under the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative. And he also has a dream.
施工这边主要是采用澳洲标准、英国标准。
Now the construction here mainly adopts Australian or British standards, which are quite different from Chinese standards that we usually follow. I really hope to implement Chinese standards here, introducing Chinese technology to Nauru to improve the local industry.
Zhu says he was working in the Solomon Islands when it established ties with China in 2019. And now it's the second time he's witnessed such an important diplomatic moment. He feels proud and excited and encourages more Chinese friends to visit Nauru.
它这边椰子比较多。
There are lots of coconuts here. The water is very clean. The weather is nice. If you like tropical fruits or love diving, you will definitely have a lot of fun here.
Nauru is the 10th country that has cut ties with Taiwan since 2016, since the Democratic Progressive Party's Tsai Ing-wen became the leader of the region. Now, there are only 12 countries that still have the so-called diplomatic relations with Taiwan, mostly in Central America, the Caribbean, and the Pacific. China says the One China principle is the basic norm of international relations and the general consensus of the international community. It believes the resumption of ties with Nauru will further pave the way for more cooperation in various sectors. Huang Yue, CGTN, Beijing.
With just days to go before the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and France, aviation giant Airbus has opened its Aircraft Lifecycle Service Center in Chengdu, Sichuan Province. The center will provide solutions for the full life cycle management of aircraft and is the first one-stop service center of its kind. Located in Chengdu, the center has obtained certifications from the European Aviation Safety Agency and the Civil Aviation Administration of China. The future plan for the Airbus Aircraft Full Life Cycle Service Center includes a total area of 717,000 square meters and the capacity to accommodate 125 aircraft. The opening of the Airbus Aircraft Lifecycle Service Center signifies a new milestone for the aviation service industry in China, providing more convenient and comprehensive support for aircraft operations. It also signifies Airbus' further expansion and a deepening of its business in China, covering the entire industry chain from component production, aircraft assembly and delivery to fleet operation and maintenance, as well as the recycling of high-value components.
In fact, when we're looking at the growth of air traffic, for sure China is playing a big role, and it represents more or less 20 to 25% of the number of aircraft we're selling. And when it comes to services, I mean, it's even there is an acceleration in the services market in the next 20 years. The revenue of aftermarket would triple in the next 20 years. So, of course, that represents an opportunity to bring our know-how around our own product and to be able to support our customers first, but also to bring a higher level of safety, higher level of a digital way to support the aircraft, like predictive maintenance, for example, and some other dimensions like this end-of-life management that we would provide through Airbus Lifecycle Services Center.
You're watching Global Business, still to come. China's central bank will cut the reserve requirement ratio for commercial banks by 50 basis points starting February 5th.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global business. Only on CGTN.
The People's Bank of China announced a cut in the reserve requirement ratio by 50 basis points on Wednesday. Our reporter Sun Ye has the details.
The People's Bank of China announced a cut in reserve requirement ratio by 0.5 percentage points from February the 5th. The announcement came as PBOC officials laid out their plans for the year Wednesday. Tang Gongsheng, governor of PBOC, said in 2024, China will adhere to a prudent monetary policy to create a favorable monetary and financial environment for the real economy. He said financial support will increase for major strategic areas and key sectors. PBOC will continue to work to prevent and resolve financial risks in key sectors. As he said, the overall financial risk in China is under control, with financial institutions operating steadily. Pan also said financial reform and opening up will continue.
On the one hand, we will deepen financial reforms. On the other hand, we will steadfastly promote the high-level opening up of the financial industry. We will deepen institutional opening up in the financial sector and expand the interconnectivity between domestic and international financial markets. We will steadily and prudently promote the internationalization of the renminbi. We will continue to support Hong Kong and Shanghai in supporting their status as international financial centers.
PBOC officials also say they will make maintaining price stability with inflation primed for moderate increase an important consideration in formulating monetary policies this year. Sun Ye, CGTN, Beijing.
News of the Triple R cut has given an immediate boost to China's financial markets. The Shanghai Composite Index closed above 2,800 points on Wednesday after falling below its psychologically important threshold on Monday. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index saw its highest close in over a week. Gains were also seen on China's bond and futures markets. The FTSE China A50 Futures Index, which overseas traders use as a reference when investing in China, is heading towards a 3-week high as we speak. The upcoming Triple R cut has added to the prospect of monetary easing as China's government bond futures all edged up. And for more insights on the new policies from the People's Bank of China, we're joined by Chen Jiahe, Chief Investment Officer of Novum RK Technologies. Jiahe, good to see you. So the central bank has announced this reserve requirement ratio cut as well as interest rate cut. How shall we interpret this move?
Well, this is a part of the continued measures to stimulate the economy. With a lower rate of reserve requirements, the banks and financial institutions will have more liquidity to support the real economy. According to the data estimated by the central bank, this will inject another 1 trillion RMB of liquidity into the market, which will mean there will be more money available, and companies can get more financial support. Meanwhile, this latest action also shows the determination of the central bank to help the economy. At the same time, this is also a time when the central bank would not feel too much pressure by doing so, basically because the inflation in China is now quite low, sometimes even go into the negative territory. So more liquidity will not pose a hard pressure onto the inflation status. On the other hand, it can have some positive impact regarding lifting the CPI back to a higher level.
And we saw markets in the region rally today. Is this going to be long-lasting? Give us more details on that.
Well, the stock market has been reflecting very positively today. The announcement of the PBOC came out at about 3:30 this afternoon. While the A-share market have closed at 3 p.m., the Hong Kong market opens till 4 p.m. So we have saw that the Hang Seng Index increased by around 2% right after the news. So it looks like to me that the market is already quite positive about this news. And I think tomorrow morning we can see this trend in the morning trading session as well. Meanwhile, the stock markets in China are now close to their lowest valuations. I drew a chart last night and compared the current valuation of Shenzhen Composite Index with its own history of over 3 decades, and this is one of the lowest valuations. And the same thing happens for Shanghai and Hong Kong markets. So for global investors, this is really a wonderful time to take a part in the Chinese equity markets.
Yeah. And why has the PBOC established this credit market department? How is it likely to develop in the future?
Credit market department is set to serve the better use of loans so as to guide the loans from financial institutions to better support the real economy. It has been announced that this new department will focus on the assisting of financial work in 5 major areas, including the technology, green economy, inclusive finance, aging finance, and digital finance. So that with the special task taken by this new department, the financial loans and liquidity will be better and more precisely used in these areas so as to make the financial system better serve the real economy.
All right, thank you so much for insights. Always great to have you on the show. Chen Jiahe, Chief Investment Officer of Novum Arcade Technologies for us. China will make more efforts to build an investor-centered capital market, officials from the Securities Regulatory Commission said on Wednesday in response to recent stock market fluctuations. The vice chairman of the securities watchdog, Wang Jianjun, said China will put investor interests first and foremost in the equity market system and will continue to improve the investor protection mechanism in order to build an open and fair market. Regarding specific measures, Wang said the authorities will improve the quality of listed companies, leverage the role of securities and fund firms, and improve basic institutional arrangements. Earlier, China's Premier Li Qiang asked authorities to take more forceful measures to stabilize the stock market and investor confidence. Meanwhile, finance and business leaders from around the world are gathered in Hong Kong to discuss global financial cooperation. Anne Cheng has the details.
Hong Kong is hosting the 17th Asian Financial Forum, and it's being held here at the Exhibition Center in Wan Chai District. The theme for this 2-day event is multilateral cooperation for a shared tomorrow, and it's expected to bring together over 3,000 finance and business leaders, including over 70 delegations from overseas and the Chinese mainland. Chief Executive John Lee gave the opening remarks and shared that in a world of escalating deglobalization and decoupling, international cooperation has never been more essential. He warned that international market fragmentation can only lead to rising costs, reduced market liquidity, and a diminished and destabilized financial system. Lee also said that Hong Kong has long been a major listing platform for companies worldwide, with the city's market capitalization of listed companies last year totaling to around $4 trillion. Moving ahead, he said that mutual market access between Hong Kong and the Chinese mainland will continue to expand, and this will firmly establish Hong Kong's indispensable role as the capital bridge between the mainland and international financial markets. Now, there were also many other speeches, and sustainable development was a common theme. This topic was also mentioned in a keynote speech by Jeffrey Sachs, who is the president of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network. Sachs said sustainable development is the center of our global framework, and that means having economic and technological development, social justice, dealing with the environmental crisis, and cooperation. He also shared that the most important investment for any society or economy is quality of education, because with that, economic success will follow. And aside from speeches and panel discussions, the forum offers a deal-making platform that enables participants to meet and network, and it's expected to attract about 200 investors and about 400 projects. There are also 4 exhibition zones that introduce cutting-edge applications of financial technology and showcase future unicorn innovation concepts. Anne Cheng, CGTN, Hong Kong.
To consumer trends, what's known as the blind box phenomenon is getting popular in China. Its roots date back to the 1980s in Japan. Consumers buy sealed packages containing random trinkets, toys, and other collectibles. And young Chinese consumers have embraced the craze in recent years. Our Mara Lu reports on the trend from Taipei.
Since its grand opening in December last year, every night there's been a snaking line outside Pop Mart's flagship store in Ximending.
There's no hot favorite. All of the designers in Pop Mart are popular because each has its own specific favorite quality.
Chinese collectible toy retailer Pop Mart opened its first brick-and-mortar store in Taipei in 2022. Since then, it has expanded to 10 outlets across the island.
I think because our IPs, they don't actually have a stories or a solid definition. So people can see our toy, our IPs in any kind of ways. You can you can give them their definition.
In the first week of the Ximending store opening, Pop Mart achieved a record of $1 million in sales, attracting both female and male fans. 38-year-old Zheng Yongchen, also known as Tuo, is more than just a hobbyist. He would travel from Kaohsiung to Taipei for an autograph session with contemporary artist Lang, the designer of his beloved Hirono.
从2021年，然后才接触到那个泡泡玛特，然后第一次看到。
From 2021, I started becoming acquainted with Pop Mart. The first time I saw Hirono's IP, I found the craftsman to be quality, especially the eyes, and I like his overall quality. A lot of people thought Pop Mart is from Japan because Japanese craftsmanship is very meticulous. There are a lot of materials now. Some are handmade and others are made of bamboo, but details are well executed.
While appreciation of craftsmanship is what gets them hooked, it was the community that kept them going.
主要买回来其实主要就是欣赏它，然后偶尔就是。
Buying it is mainly for appreciation. Occasionally, I take videos of it and send it to friends or post it to my social media circles. Hobbyists then look at it and then admire it.
Over the years, Pop Mart has cultivated a loyal fan base in a competitive toy industry and fostered the growth of a like-minded community beyond geographical borders. Mira Lu, CGTN, Taipei.
And that will do it for this edition of Global Business. I'm Xia Vandenberg in Beijing. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.